FFP ladies, Fit Fam, everybody, all inclusive. Hello. It's me. It's your favorite day of the week, as usual. If you're watching the video, I forgot to put my standing desk down behind me. It's okay. We're a little closer here. I decided to move the camera a little bit closer, put a little light behind it. We're getting really professional over here. But yeah, happy Friday Junior. I am looking forward to the weekend, just because, you know how it goes. My 9-to-5 job has been good, but it's just been really frustrating lately. But based off of what we talked about last week was so much fun talking to myself, talking about the whole human design stuff that I've been learning a lot about. I have still been in a state of zen and calm and peace. There have been a couple instances this past week that just really got my blood boiling, or I was just frustrated. Something at work happened that I can't control. It's like I'm beating my head against this brick wall and nothing is moving forward. Nothing's happening. And with a commission-based job, that's very frustrating. If you know what I know. If you know, you know, right? So on that app that I talked about, there's a daily, what do they call it? It's a daily reset, kind of like a affirmation thing. That's not quite right, but you know what I mean. It's 2.5 minutes long, and in it, it just says, the things that happened today are in perfect alignment for what's coming for me. It's meant to be, and all this stuff. And I listened to that on one particularly frustrating day. Something just kind of tipped me off, and I listened to that, and it really was like a reset. It really was. And I felt it was instant within that. I didn't even finish the whole little 2.5 minutes, because it worked that well. And I just needed to remind myself hey, it's frustrating and it's okay to admit that. We're all in this together. And it's meant to happen. The way things are going are in perfect alignment with what's coming for you. And what's coming for you is good. What's coming for you is successful. What you're, all this stuff. So that's how my week. Well, I was going to say it's technically only Wednesday for me, but week from the past 7 days, not a calendar week. So yeah, it's been good. And then on Monday when I did my check-in with Lindsay, hi. I don't know if she listens to this. Are you listening? Are you there? Lindsay, hey. She asked my calories again. So I wanted to talk about this because I talk about it in a couple of TikTok videos where I was not expecting to do a reverse diet, basically is what it is, where I'm eating at a maintenance calorie level. I'm really curious how, because I'm supposed to be in a deficit again starting in April, gonna cut before the summer. I swear to God, if I don't have a 6-pack by summer, I'm gonna lose my mind. No, Katelynn, we gotta have proper expectations, practice what you preach. What will happen will be, what it is shall be, whatever that means. I just say that because since, like I've talked about, since the new year, my mindset has just completely taken a right turn, obviously in a good way, with how I'm being more accountable to myself, with staying on track, making sure I get my steps in, getting my water in, not kind of getting my water in or getting close enough to my steps, or kind of doing the majority of my workout, or, things like that, where it's okay, let's be on point, right? Why are you doing this? You're not doing this to waste your fucking money, that's for sure. You've been doing it long enough. Let's get this over with. And I know we've talked about how, fitness isn't an end what's a good word for it? Like, it's not like you're arriving at your destination, you know. There can be destinations, right? Physique wise, you can get to a destination and all that, but excuse me, that's kind of like, you want to keep doing this, you want to keep paying for this. And so that's also a motivating factor, where it's like, let's kind of wrap this up with why we started getting coaching in the first place, why we're paying for this in the first place. Let's wrap that part up. So that's been motivating, because every month I have to pay, I'm like, oh, but but as I was saying, because everything has just been going so well for me personally, when I get back into, obviously it's a lot easier to a degree to be on point when you are able to eat so much. It's like, yes, let's give me those Oreos, you know? I literally said that the other night to Mark. I looked at my calories. I'd already hit my protein goal, and I was like, still under my calories though. And I'm like, you know what? Give me those Oreos. That's, you know that feeling. I know you feel it right now just thinking about it, when you have no shame, no regret. It's perfectly reasonable to get those Oreos and have no qualm about it. There's no shame behind it after you eat it and you're enjoying it, and you felt it was like an indulging feeling. You know, that's the best. Anyway, it is a lot easier to, you know, hit those numbers when you have a lot of numbers, right? So I am kind of curious how in April, when I get cut again, how it will be. I don't think I'm not going to be self-sabotaging or anything. It's not going to be how I was last year. But challenge-wise, I'm curious, because I gave myself too many liberties the last time I was in a deficit. So I am pretty determined though. So I don't think it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. So we'll do that deficit for a minute, and it'll be right before the summer bikini season. And so I'm saying, like, God, I better have a fucking six pack by the time. But we'll see how my body responds, and that's okay. But I've never, since I've done this consistently, I've never been this consistent. I've never been this on point. So all that to say is, I am curious how my body will respond with being, you know, you guys know what I mean. So yeah, all that to say is, I'm looking forward to it. I want to get out my phone real quick. I am looking forward to bikini season, because again, I've never looked better. This is really the Katelynn half-hour hype sesh. I'm here for it. I'm happy you're here for it. It's not going to stop anytime soon. You know, I'm a one-girl show. I'm okay with that. But bikini season is coming up, and I have had to resist so hard with the Amazon shopping. I was actually thinking to myself the other day, this is kind of an interesting thought I had, where in the past, I've talked about it on the pod before, but it was many, many episodes ago, where when I was younger, I would have to, every season, go bathing suit shopping with my mom, you know, being in the store. And being from a conservative home, the options were limited for a 13-year-old who had huge tits and couldn't, like, act or look at them or act as if she has them, like, you know what I mean? And also wanted to be cute and trendy and feel good and look good at the same time. The options were, quite slim. So it was like the tankinis, you know, or like the the halter tops that would come up, you know, high, or like the t-shirt or boy shorts kind of thing. So I just kind of gave up. Mentally, I was like, you know, there's just no cute bathing suits out there for me that, one, fit me properly. It kind of seemed hard at the time. It's not, looking back, it probably would have been a lot easier. Well, there just wasn't as many options back then, right? The internet was still, let's see, what are we talking? Well, yeah, early 2000s, and those high school years, like, yeah, the 2000 to 2010, really, because the internet, it was still kind of a baby, let's be honest. It really was. And so there just wasn't a lot of options. You go to the J.C. Penney or Kohl's or whatnot, and that's what you're left with. So I often had to shop in like the adult section, like the senior citizen section. Or and I'd get lucky at, who remembers Gordman's? Gordman's was always my spot. They always had good like tankini options, but if it was like an appropriate bottoms and half appropriate top, like it's always my tits were in the way. My boobs were always a problem. So I just gave up, like, thinking like I can't find anything cute, just a regular bikini is just a little too much. And of course you get those feelings of insecurity, you don't look good, it's not the best, it's very exposing, all that stuff. And a couple of years ago, I finally took a turn. And I'm in my 20s, a couple of years ago. And it was a guy I was dating at the time who really helped me come into my physicality in an objective way. So he was a designer, an artist, and really knew how to explain, and also Latin American, so they love women. But he would explain how my proportions and my body type was ideal and great, and it was beautiful because of this, in a very explained way, like I'm reading it out of a textbook, right? So it really helped me get out of my own head. Like, just the way he explained it really got me out of my own head and be like, oh, actually you are right. I've never like hated myself so much or thought I was so ugly or fat. I've always had confidence. But obviously when it comes to certain things, it's like, yeah, I'm a little more conservative in that area because of these reasons. So the way you would explain it really helped me get out of my head, be like objective with the way I see myself and feel about myself, that this is just who I am. And so it was during that time that I explored wearing regular bikinis. And now, fast forward, shopping for bikinis and stuff, nothing's off the table. I love it. I love having a drawer full of bikinis and cycling through them, all this stuff. I love it so much. So I really encourage you, get the new bikini, something like that, treat yourself. But the other point I wanted to make with that was also, I'm trying to be conservative with my money. Yeah, because got some trips coming up, and it is important to not overdo it with the Amazon shopping. And I've had to like stop myself, being like, do you really need this? Is this appropriate for your budget, for the goals that you have? So we've been going through a lot of changes over here. A lot of changes mentally. And there's like a certain trend on TikTok right now about overconsumption. You see these girls do these unboxings of their Amazon hauls or PR boxes that they get from brands. Regardless if they're spending money on it, it's just overconsumption. Or like the makeup girls who do the videos, right? You see, like, especially the real popular ones, how much products they have. It's absolutely wild. And I turn my nose up at it because it's like, it is kind of a human thing to have, like a self-preservation thing, to have all the options all the time, right? You want to be able to lean on, have this just in case, or if this runs out, I always have the backup. And we've spilled that into shit we don't need, like, 45 different blushes. Seriously, if you haven't seen those videos, that's how it's like. Like, you have 45 different shades of blushes, and you have, 18 different brands of eyeliner, of black eyeliner and mascara. It's like, sure, try a bunch of different kinds that just find the one that you like. And sometimes it almost gets me. It almost gets me. I see these drawer full of eyeshadow palettes, and it's like, oh, those are so pretty. I like that one. I like this one. Literally a drawer full of eyeshadow palettes. Huge drawer. And then I think I have probably 5 eyeshadow palettes that I've had for at least 7 years. Some are newer than others, but there's some ones that I've had for almost a decade. And I still use them, which is great, yay me, but it takes forever to get through them. Like, that's the whole point. So I just stop myself, be like, that it is a really cute eyeshadow palette, and I would absolutely use it, which is good. But at the same time, it's like, you don't fucking need it. You don't need it. So we're on this you don't need it journey. Especially since I have my new fancy couch, that itch has been scratched as far as, my home decor and all that. But anyway, that's where I'm at in life. Like anybody cares. So let's do our Reddit corner. Hold on, I got an email. No, not important. So some of these were actually pretty funny, and I'm excited for it. Okay. Was that the first one? Hold on one second. I'm not gonna do that one. Okay. First question of the day for Katelynn's Hot Takes. That's it. That's what this corner is called, Katelynn's Hot Takes Corner, right? We're workshopping that. We'll figure it out. All right, first up, girls. What is the greenest flag you can find in a guy? There's a lot. The first one I would say is, I don't know how to define it properly, but it's along the lines of how they treat other people, right? Their mom, the waitress, anything like that. One green flag I saw in Mark, there were a couple because, well, there's a lot. He's full of green flags. But when we were first getting to know each other, like, he was always authentically himself. He was never anything but himself. Like, 5 minutes into knowing him, he's tooting. Usually you wait a little bit. And at first I was like, ew, disgusting. Like, is this the kind of guy I want to... And I had to stop myself being like, you're going to get to this point eventually. So he's just speeding things up. And I was like, oh, wait, maybe that's a green flag. So, like, literally, it was so soon after we had, like, started hanging out that he was always like that. But there was one time, well, while we were getting to know each other, there's all these, like, characteristics about him that I thought, like, all right, is it a facade? Is it just because we're in the love bubble? Is this how he is literally all the time? It's hard to know those things, and that's obviously why you date. It's get to know each other, you take your time, right? There was one time, it was the first time he ever picked me up from the airport. We had, been seeing each other enough to where I was like, you want to pick me up? It's so cute. And so he picks me up, I jump in the car, and he's like, I didn't know, if, how you were feeling or if you were hungry or thirsty, so I brought you a Coke and I brought you a bottle of water. So I was like, I sat there, I'm like, it's really sweet. I was thirsty, thank you. And on the way home, I'm like, is he really, like, that is so thoughtful. I never mentioned at any point on my trip, I'm just so thirsty, or I'm dying of thirst. They didn't do beverage service during this flight. I'm just so thirsty. No, he's just like, well, just in case she might want some water, or maybe she'll want a Coke, like, but we'll see. And he brought him, and I'm like, Okay, that's enough. That's a green flag, being thoughtful for no goddamn reason. All right, next. This one's funny. If you could choose any animal to scale up to the size of a horse and ride it into battle, which animal would you pick and why? Literally, that's the easiest question. Like a tiger or like a cat, something in the animal kingdom, or the kitty world. That's so obvious. Wait, which one though, specifically? I would do a cheetah because they would still have to be the fastest animal, like land animal, right? That's what they say they are. And then they're pretty lethal, so I'd feel pretty safe on that. So that's where we're going with that. Oh, this one. If you had the power of God for 3 seconds, what would you undo? Mental health problems. That's exactly what I would do. I would wipe away everything that has to do with like your mental health, depression, anxiety. Is anxiety? Yeah. Sorry, don't come for me, but like clinical mental health things that you can clinically describe, which is pretty much a lot these days. But you know what I mean. Think about how much better the world would be if we didn't have mental health problems. Our relationships would be probably perfect. We wouldn't have narcissists. We wouldn't have, the, what do you call them? Pathological liars, Yeah, that sounds pretty good. What would you do? Like, I'm really curious, but that was the first thing that came to my head was, let's just, of course I could pick all the selfish things, make myself really rich or whatnot, but life would be so much better if we just didn't have that, right? All right, glad we can agree. What is the most annoying question that people ask you? Okay. If my twin brother and I are identical, why? Why would you ask me that? Use your brain. I'm a girl. He's a boy. It doesn't work that way. Let's move on. All right, what is a small everyday thing that never fails to make you happy? This is such a great question because it kind of forces you to think about the little things in life and appreciate all that. One thing would be Mark makes my coffee every morning. And even on the days where I'm perfectly okay, well, every day I'm perfectly okay with having to do it myself. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But like, for example, if it's a Saturday morning and we're lounging around in bed, usually he's always up before me regardless of the day. Oh, there's 2 scenarios here. I got 2 examples. So on the Saturdays where we're not rushing around to get to work, he'll get out of bed and be up for a little bit, and I will get up and then sit my ass right here with this blanket and get on my phone while he makes my coffee. During the week, it's like already made before I get out of bed, or I have to just click the button. But then the other scenario was on the Saturdays where we both are in bed at the same time and we're awake and we're just kind of shuffling, like, I'll look at him like, hi, good morning. And he'll be like, you want some coffee? And I'm like, uh-huh. And I'll lay there until he brings it to me. Like, it's the smallest thing and I never want it to change, but you appreciate it now just in case. So that's, okay, next. What chain restaurant hasn't gone down in quality? I love the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if it's gone down. Some people can probably say, but it never fails me. It's always there for me. It's been there for me, and they have the most amount of options one could ever have or ever want. And I will always defend the Cheesecake Factory. I remember a job that I had a while back. There was like, it was all girls that worked in this like small chiropractor office. And my birthday was coming up. They're like, hey, let's go get dinner. Where do you want to go? I'm like, I really want to go to the Cheesecake Factory. And they were like giving me a hard time for it. And I'm like, dude, let's go. It's one, convenient and around the corner. I can afford it. And it rocks. All right, so shut up. Next. Ooh, we got to run through these. Let's see. What's your favorite thing about your commute to work? Everything, because I have to walk 4 feet. Next. I don't have time to think about that one. Okay, last one. What's your one advice for people starting out in a relationship? There's a ton of things that you could recommend. The biggest one I would say would be to take your time. There's no reason to rush. There's always time. There's always time to get to know each other. And during that time, still prioritize your personal growth and exactly what you're looking for. And that's hard. It's difficult to, that's why dating exists, right? You have to filter through people. That sounds bad. I should probably say that a different way, but dating around, right? You get to know yourself, you get to know your criteria, what you are looking for, and that changes, and that takes time. That takes time. Don't get married before you're 30. Especially if you've done a lot of like personal growth or do a lot of personal growth and want to grow as a person, which I hope everybody does. Getting married really early is difficult. Of course, tons and tons of people make it work. It's fine. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But, you can grow with your partner, which is great. And that exists. And people do that real well. You go through those ups and downs. But, if you're dating, just take your time, man. There's no rush. There really isn't. I got married way too quickly. And I wouldn't change it for anything, like I've said. But, just looking back about how self-assured I really was, which there's nothing wrong with that. I've always been a self-assured person. But at the same time, I was 19. You don't know anything. And you're getting to know yourself, you're changing, you're evolving, and you haven't even left home and into the real world. So, I got to give myself a lot of grace. But I would just say take your time, have fun. Stay in the bubble, have fun, get to know each other through personal experiences and all that. But that's what I would say. But anyway, that concludes, what was it? Katelynn's Hot Take Corner? I think I like that. But that concludes Katelynn's Hot Take Corner. Yeah, I like it. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. We have some good, amazing episodes coming up in the coming weeks. We will be having our lovely Rosetta on. Are you listening, Rosetta? Are you there? Hi. I love doing that. But we will have her on in the coming weeks talking about mommy stuff. So sharing those episodes with your little mommy friends will be good, because obviously it's going to be around health and fitness, schedule changes with the summer, all that stuff. It's going to be fun, super fun.
Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFemme Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemmeproject.com. That's FITFEMME Project.com and click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the FitFemme Project Alignment Podcast.